Alex had always been curious about the space station he worked on, a place filled with all kinds of aliens from different worlds. It was full of strange sights, smells, and even stranger customs. But there was one thing he didn't expect when he signed up for his assignment: Zara, his alien roommate. Zara was beautiful. That was the first thing Alex noticed when he met her. Her green skin shimmered faintly under the artificial lights of their shared quarters, and her large golden eyes held a quiet intensity. Despite her beauty, Alex found himself feeling awkward around her. He wasn't used to being around someone so different, and Zara didn't seem to mind his hesitance. She was polite but distant. The first few weeks living with her had been uneventful. They shared the small space, went about their routines, and exchanged the occasional greeting. Zara spoke little about herself, and Alex didn't push her to open up. She had her own way of doing things, and he respected that. But everything changed when the storm hit. The station's usual calm atmosphere was shattered as alarms began blaring through the walls. The lights flickered, and a loud mechanical hum filled the air. Alex rushed to the window to see the bright flashes of lightning outside, reflecting off the vastness of space. It was unlike anything he'd seen before. This wasn't a typical storm. This was something serious. "Zara, what's going on?" Alex called out over the noise. Raced unsure of what was happening, Zara stood by the door, her expression calm despite the chaos. "It's a space storm," she said, her voice surprisingly steady. "The station will be locked down until it passes." "What does that mean for us?" Alex asked, already feeling the tension in his chest. "We'll be stuck here together." "No one's leaving their rooms," she replied. There was a quiet weight in her words, as if the storm was more than just a physical event. Alex couldn't shake the feeling that something else was happening, something important. With the storm outside getting worse, Alex realized there was nothing he could do but wait. The hours stretched on, and eventually the station's systems were fully locked down, leaving them alone in their quarters. Zara and Alex were now trapped in the same room. He tried to focus on something else, but it was hard. The storm raged outside, shaking the walls and making the whole place feel unstable. As the storm howled, Zara sat down at the small table in their room, her posture straight but relaxed. She seemed unaffected by the chaos around them. Alex, on the other hand, was pacing, trying to keep his mind busy. He couldn't help but wonder how Zara managed to stay so calm. They had barely talked in the past few days, and now they were stuck here, alone, with nothing but time to pass. "Are you always so calm?" Alex asked, breaking the silence. Zara turned her golden eyes toward him, a slight smile playing at the corners of her lips. "I've seen worse storms," she said softly. "My home planet gets more violent weather." Alex raised an eyebrow. "Is that so? What's it like on your planet?" he asked, genuinely curious now. He'd never asked her about her life back home. She'd always kept it to herself. "It's a beautiful place, but dangerous in its own way," Zara replied, her voice distant, as though she were recalling something from far away. "The seasons can be harsh, and during bonding season we ... Well, we change." Alex paused. "Bonding season? What do you mean by that?" Zara's gaze shifted slightly, her golden eyes studying him for a moment before she answered, "It's hard to explain. It's something all my kind goes through. When the season arrives, it's like ... a pull, a need to connect with someone." Alex's curiosity piqued, but he wasn't sure how to respond. This was the first time Zara had shared something personal with him. "Is that why you've been acting strange?" he asked, his voice tentative. She nodded, her expression a mix of sadness and acceptance. "Yes, it's a natural part of our life cycle. When it happens, we can't ignore it. It's as if our bodies are telling us we need to be close to someone." Alex felt a little uncomfortable. He'd never really understood alien customs. But something about the way Zara spoke made it sound so ... intimate. He shifted uneasily. "But you haven't said anything about it before." Zara glanced at him, her eyes softening. "I didn't want to make things awkward. I know you don't understand it, but now, with the storm ... Well, It's harder to hide. Alex felt a mix of emotions. He was confused, concerned, but strangely moved by her honesty. Zara had always kept to herself, and now, for the first time, he could see the vulnerability in her. They were both stuck in this room with nothing but time and the storm outside. Wasn't going to let them escape anytime soon. The silence stretched between them as Alex processed what she had told him. He had no idea what bonding season really meant for Zara, but it seemed important. And maybe, just maybe, this could be a chance for them to connect in a way they hadn't before. The storm continued to rage outside. A different kind of storm was beginning to stir, one that neither Alex nor Zara could ignore. The storm outside the space station didn't show any signs of letting up. In fact, the flashing lights of the lightning reflected off the walls, making the room feel even smaller than it was. Alex sat on the edge of his bed, his mind racing. The conversation he had with Zara still lingered in his thoughts. Bonding season. The words kept echoing in his head. He had never imagined that something like that could happen to someone, let alone his alien roommate. Zara had returned to her quiet spot by the table, her long fingers gently tapping against the surface. She seemed calm, but Alex noticed the faint trembling in her hands, something she couldn't hide. For a moment, he thought about leaving her alone, but he couldn't shake the curiosity that had grown inside him. "Zara," Alex said softly, breaking the silence. "Is there anything I can do, I mean? You're going through this bonding season thing. Do you need help?" Zara turned toward him slowly, her golden eyes widening slightly. For a brief moment, she seemed surprised by his question. "Help," she repeated, almost as if the word didn't quite make sense to her. Alex scratched the back of his neck, unsure of how to continue. "I don't know, I just thought maybe I could do something to make it easier for you. If it's that important, ... Zara studied him for a moment, her expression unreadable. Finally, she spoke, her voice softer than before. "It's not something anyone can help with. It's something that happens inside us, and we can't avoid it. It's a pull that's beyond our control." She paused and then added, "But thank you, Alex. You're kind to offer." Alex nodded, but the tension in the room remained. He wanted to say more, to do something to ease her discomfort, but he felt strangely out of place. He wasn't used to this kind of situation. He'd never had to comfort someone in such a personal way, especially someone so different from him. The silence stretched between them, and Alex couldn't help but feel like an outsider in his own room. After what felt like an eternity, Zara stood up and walked over to the small window in the corner. She gazed out into the darkness of space, her figure outlined by the dim light. Alex watched her, unsure of what to say. There was something about her, something otherworldly, that both fascinated and unsettled him. "You know," Zara said, her voice low and thoughtful, "it's strange being so close to someone and yet feeling so distant at the same time. My kind... We don't often interact with humans. Our bonding seasons are personal, private things." She turned to face him, her golden eyes searching his face for something answers. "Maybe. But here I am stuck in this room with you, and it's harder than I thought it would be." Alex felt his heart skip a beat. He had always known Zara as a private person, someone who kept her emotions hidden behind her calm and collected exterior. To see her so open now, vulnerable in a way he had never witnessed before, made him feel like he was seeing a completely different side of her. "I didn't ask for any of this," she continued. "Being close to you, imagined, I can't explain why, but it's happening. I don't know how to stop it." Alex stood up from the bed and walked over to where she stood. He wasn't sure what was driving him, whether it was concern for her or a growing curiosity, but he felt the need to be close to her. Not in a romantic way, but just ... close. He wanted to understand, to offer something. "I'm not asking you to explain everything," Alex said quietly, his voice steady but filled with warmth. "But if you need to talk, I'm here." For a moment, Zara didn't respond. She simply stood there, looking at him with an expression that seemed both relieved and uncertain. Then, slowly, she nodded. I think I need someone to understand," she whispered. "It's been so long since I've been able to share this with anyone." Alex gave her a small smile. "Well, I don't know much about alien bonding. Seasons, but I'm a pretty good listener. Zara's lips curved into the smallest of smiles, her golden eyes softening. Thank you, Alex. You're read. ... Different. The words caught Alex off guard. Different, he repeated, unsure if she meant it as a compliment or something else. Yes, she said, taking a deep breath. Most humans would be scared or confused, but you're not. You're patient with me, even when I don't know what I'm doing. That means something. Alex's chest tightened at her words. He hadn't expected to hear that. To him, she had always been the one who seemed so strong, so sure of herself, while he was just trying to keep up. But now, in this strange moment, he realized that maybe he had more in common with Zara than he had thought. They stood there for a while, the storm outside continuing its violent display. The station felt like it was shaking, but in that moment, the world outside seemed distant. Inside their small room, something had changed. The awkwardness that had defined their relationship had softened, replaced by a quiet understanding. Neither of them knew what the next few days would bring, but in that brief silence, they both knew they were no longer strangers. I guess we'll just have to ride it out, Alex said finally. Breaking the silence once again, Zara nodded, her gaze steady. Yes, but it's nice to know I'm not alone in this. For the first time in days, Alex felt a sense of calm. The storm outside wasn't the only thing that had made their lives feel uncertain. But in that moment, with Zara standing next to him, he realized that maybe, just maybe, they could face whatever came next together. The days passed slowly, and the storm outside showed no signs of weakening. Alex and Zara had fallen into a strange rhythm. They talked more, shared stories about their home planets, and even laughed at the little things. But underneath the friendly conversations, there was a tension neither of them could ignore. Zara's behavior was becoming harder to read. There were moments when she would look at Alex a little too long, her golden eyes holding a depth that made him uncomfortable. She seemed to be fighting something that neither of them fully understood. Her actions, small touches, lingering glances made Alex's heart race in a way he didn't know how to handle. He wasn't used to being so close to someone, let alone someone so different from him. And yet, despite the awkwardness, there was something undeniable about the connection between them. Alex sat at the small table in their shared room, trying to focus on a book, but his thoughts kept drifting to Zara. She was sitting by the window, her back to him as she watched the storm rage outside. The room was quiet, except for the hum of the station and the occasional crackle of static from the intercom system. He watched her, not knowing how to start the conversation they both seemed to be avoiding. Zara's long silver hair cascaded down her back, and the soft glow of her skin reflected the dim light from the walls. She was stunning, but it wasn't just her looks that held his attention. There was something in the way she carried herself, her calmness, her strength, but also her vulnerability. Something she didn't show often. Finally, unable to hold back any longer, Alex spoke. Zara, are you okay? Zara didn't turn around immediately. She simply sat still, her hands resting on her knees. After a long moment, she responded, her voice low and almost distant. I'm fine. Alex frowned, sensing the lie in her words. He knew she wasn't fine, not really. Tension in the room was thick, and he could feel it even now, in the silence between them. It was as though they were both waiting for something, but neither of them was willing to take the first step. I don't think you're fine, Alex said softly, pushing his chair back and standing up. You've been acting ... different? And it's not just because of the storm. Zara's shoulders stiffened, but she didn't move. Her eyes stayed focused on the storm outside. It's not that simple, Alex, she replied quietly. You wouldn't understand. I don't need to understand everything, Alex said, walking over to stand beside her. But I do want to know how you're feeling. I can see it in your eyes. There's something you're holding back. Zara turned her head slowly, her golden eyes meeting his. There was a deep sadness in them, something Alex hadn't seen before. You don't know what it's like, she said softly, to be caught between what you want and what your body tells you to do.
Alex's heart skipped a beat.
He understood in that moment. that she wasn't just talking about the storm or the lockdown. She was talking about the bonding season, the pull she had told him about before. The pull that had brought them both to this point, this uncomfortable closeness. "I can't imagine it," Alex admitted, his voice quiet. "But I'm here, Zara. I'm not going anywhere." She let out a soft sigh, her eyes lowering. "I never wanted to put you in this position," she said, her voice thick with emotion. "I never wanted to feel like this. But my species, we don't have control over it. The bonding season, the need to connect, ... it's a part of us. It's biological. And now, with the storm, ... with you. I don't know how to stop it." Alex's chest tightened. He could see the struggle in her face, the conflict inside her. She wasn't just trying to fight the pull of her biology, she was also fighting her feelings for him, and that made everything so much more complicated. "I'm not afraid of you, Zara," Alex said, his voice firm but kind. "I don't know what's happening, but I'm not scared of you. I just want to help. I want to be here for you." She looked up at him then, and for a moment their eyes locked. Her gaze softened, and Alex could see the walls she had built, around herself starting to crumble. "I'm afraid," Zara whispered. "I'm afraid of what happens if I give in, if I let this connection happen between us. I don't know what it will mean for us, for me. I've never been close to a human like this before." Alex's heart ached at her words. He reached out, placing a gentle hand on her shoulder. "We don't have to figure everything out right now. We're trapped here, but that doesn't mean we have to rush into anything. We can take it one step at a time." Zara's breath caught, and for a moment, Alex wasn't sure what she would say. But then, slowly she nodded. "One step at a time," she agreed, her voice barely above a whisper. The tension in the room didn't vanish, but it shifted. There was still something unspoken between them, something that neither of them knew how to deal with. But in that moment, there was a sense of understanding, a feeling that they were both in this together. However complicated things might become, they stood there, side by side, looking out at the storm. The flashing lights from the lightning illuminated the room for just a moment, and Alex couldn't help but feel that the storm outside mirrored the storm inside him. He wasn't sure what would happen between them or how things would change when the storm passed. But one thing was clear: they weren't the same people they had been when they first walked into this room. As the storm raged on, Alex and Zara were left to face the growing feelings between them. Neither of them knew what the future held, but for the first time since the storm had started, they were no longer afraid to face it. The storm outside continued to rage. The heavy sound of rain slamming against the station's outer hull echoed through the walls. Inside, the small room felt even more confined, as if the walls themselves were closing in on Alex and Zara. But despite the storm, despite the tension, something had shifted between them. A quiet understanding had formed, though neither of them fully understood what it meant yet. It had been days since they had begun talking more openly. Zara's behavior had shifted too. She was still the calm, composed alien he had always known. But there was an underlying sadness in her eyes that hadn't been there before. It was a sadness that Alex could no longer ignore. The silence between them wasn't awkward anymore, but it was filled with unspoken words. Neither of them knew how to talk about the elephant in the room, the strange connection they were beginning to feel. Alex couldn't tell whether it was the storm, the isolation, or something else entirely. But there was no denying the attraction building between them. One evening, as they sat together at the small table in their quarters, Alex decided to ask her about the bonding season again. He had tried to understand it before, but he knew there was still so much he didn't know. The more he thought about it, the more he realized how little he truly understood about Zara's world. "Zara, can you tell me more about your bonding season?" Alex asked gently, his voice almost tentative. "I know I've asked before, but I don't think I fully understand." Zara looked up at him, her golden eyes softening. She seemed to hesitate for a moment, as if deciding how much to share. Expression changed, as if she were bracing herself for something difficult. Finally she spoke, her voice quiet but clear. "Bonding season is ... important for my species," Zara began, her hands gently clasped in front of her. It's not just about emotions or feelings. It's a biological need. We experience a strong urge to connect with another being, emotionally and physically. But it's not just a random connection. We're meant to bond with someone we trust, someone we care about. The process is complex. Alex listened intently, trying to absorb everything she was saying. He had thought it was just an emotional thing, something like a human attraction. But from what Zara was describing, it was much more than that. It's hard to explain, Zara continued, her voice almost a whisper now. When the season comes, it's like our bodies take over. It's a call we can't ignore. It's not a choice, it's a part of who we are. The bond is deeply tied to our survival. We must connect with someone during the season. Without it, we can't fully thrive. Alex felt a chill run down his spine. This was much more serious than he had imagined. It wasn't just about Zara's feelings for him. It was something essential to her existence. The idea that her body had a biological need to bond with someone made Alex feel even more out of place. He wasn't sure what to say. I didn't know it was like that, Alex said slowly. It sounds like something you can't control. Zara nodded, her gaze falling to her hands. I can't. No one can. It's not just a desire, it's a need. And when the season comes, it changes everything. It's the way we feel, the way we act. It's like our whole world shifts, and we can't stop it. The need is so strong. Sometimes it overwhelms us. Alex could see the weight of her words in her eyes. Zara wasn't just explaining a physical process. She was sharing something deeply personal, something that had always been a part of her, but that she couldn't escape. Does that mean you're feeling it now? Alex asked, his voice low. Zara's gaze met his, and for a moment, neither of them spoke. The storm outside seemed to fade into the background, and in the quiet of their small room, everything felt more intense. Zara's golden eyes held a mixture of sadness and honesty. Yes, she said, her voice barely audible. I'm feeling it, and I'm trying to fight it, but it's hard. My body, my mind. They want to connect with you, Alex, but I don't know if that's what I truly want. It's so confusing. Alex's heart skipped a beat. He could feel the tension in the air growing thicker. It was one thing to understand Zara's struggle intellectually. But now, standing in the midst of it, he realized just how real and powerful her feelings were. It wasn't just a passing attraction. It was something that was rooted deep within her, something she couldn't control. I don't know what to say, Alex admitted, his voice quiet but sincere. I don't want to make things harder for you. I don't want to do something just because of this need you have. I want to understand you, Zara. I want to be here for you. But I don't want to be a part of something that isn't real. Zara's eyes softened at his words. You're right to feel that way. I don't want you to feel forced into this. But I can't ignore it. I can't pretend it's not there. Alex stood up and walked over to the small window, looking out into the endless expanse of space. The station was still locked down, and the storm outside continued to batter the hull. But inside it felt like everything had changed. I don't want to push you into anything either, Alex said quietly, still looking out at the storm, but I don't want you to feel alone in this. If you're struggling, I want to help in whatever way I can. But only if it's what you really want. Zara stood up slowly, walking over to him. She reached out and gently placed her hand on his arm. Her touch was light, almost hesitant, but it sent a jolt of warmth through Alex's body. I don't know what I want, she said softly, but I do know that I don't want to push you away. Not when I've never had anyone who would understand, not like you do. Alex turned to face her, his heart pounding. There was so much they still needed to understand. So much that neither of them could fully explain. But in that moment, looking into Zara's golden eyes, Alex realized something. This wasn't about being forced into something they weren't ready for. It was about trust and understanding. And even if neither of them knew what the future would hold, they could face it together. We'll figure it out, Alex said quietly, his voice steady. Together. Zara nodded, her gaze softening. Guess together. The storm outside seemed never-ending. The endless flashes of lightning lit up the dark expanse of space, casting brief shadows across the room. Inside, the small quarters felt heavy with the weight of silence. The storm wasn't just outside, it was here too, inside Alex and Zara's hearts. The storm in their minds, their feelings, it all seemed tangled together. Both of them were trapped by the storm, by the strange connection that had formed between them, and by something neither of them fully understood. Alex sat on the edge of his bed, his eyes focused on the floor, though his mind was far away. He couldn't stop thinking about Zara. She had shared so much with him, more than anyone else ever had. She had opened up, allowed him to see the struggles she faced during the bonding season. It was a part of her that she couldn't control. And now it was affecting everything between them. But now, Alex wasn't sure what to do with all this information. How could he help her? What was the right thing to do? Or importantly, what did he want? He had spent days trying to understand what she was going through, but the more he thought about it, the more confused he became. There was a part of him that was drawn to her strength and vulnerability. He had never felt so close to anyone, in his life, human or alien. But he wasn't sure if it was because of the storm, because of the bonding season, or because of something deeper. He didn't want to make a decision based on confusion or pressure. He wanted to be sure that it was the right thing, that they were both ready. Zara's voice broke through his thoughts. "Alex," she said softly, her tone hesitant. He looked up to see her standing by the window again, her eyes fixed. On the storm outside, she seemed far away, lost in thought. "Been thinking about what you said," she continued. "About us, ... figuring things out." Alex's heart skipped a beat. "What do you mean?" She turned to face him, her golden eyes meeting his with a mixture of sadness and uncertainty. "I don't want to hurt you. I don't want to drag you into something you're not ready for. But at the same time, I can't deny what I'm feeling. I can't ignore it. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do. My species, our biology, it's demanding something from me that I'm not sure I'm ready to give." Alex stood up, taking a step closer to her. He could see the struggle in her eyes, the battle between what she wanted and what she was being forced to feel. He could feel her pain, her confusion, as if it were his own. This wasn't just about the storm or the bonding season, it was about them, their feelings, and the uncertainty that came with it. "I don't want to hurt you either, Zara," Alex said, his voice steady but filled with emotion. "I don't want you to feel pressured, but you're not alone in this. You don't have to rush into anything. We can take our time. We can figure this out together." Zara's eyes softened, and for the first time in days, she allowed herself to truly meet his gaze. "You mean that?" Nodded. "I do. I know this is hard. I don't understand everything you're going through, but I want to be here for you. We don't have to make any big decisions now. Let's just take it one step at a time." Zara looked at him for a long moment, her expression unreadable. Then, slowly, she nodded. "One step at a time," she repeated, her voice quieter now, as if the weight of the decision was still hanging in the air. Alex smiled, though it was small and uncertain. He didn't have all the answers, but he knew one thing. They didn't need to rush. They didn't need to force anything. If there was one thing he had learned during their time trapped together, it was that they could trust each other, no matter how strange their situation was, no matter how different their worlds were. They could navigate it together. The storm outside seemed to calm just a little, the violent flashes of lightning giving way to a softer, steady rain. Inside, the air felt lighter, as if something had shifted between them. The tension, though still present, seemed more manageable now. They weren't rushing toward anything. They weren't forcing anything. They were simply together, facing the uncertainty together. "I think I'm ready," Zara said, her voice soft, yet filled with resolve, ready to face this. "And whatever happens next. But only if we do it together, Alex." Alex took a deep breath, feeling a sense of relief wash over him. "We will," he promised. "We'll do this together." For the first time since the storm had started, Alex felt like he could breathe again. There was still so much they didn't understand, so much they still had to figure out. But right now that didn't matter. What mattered was that they were facing it together, and that was enough. As the rain outside continued to fall softly, The two of them stood there, side by side. The bond between them was growing, and though neither of them knew where it would lead, they both knew one thing: it would be their choice, their decision. They didn't have to let the storm or the season control them. They could choose to move forward, step by step, and face whatever came their way together. The storm had finally passed. The loud crashes of thunder had faded, and the lights in the space station flickered back to life. Outside the window, the stars now shone clearly through the darkness of space. The storm had left its mark, but inside the small room, Alex and Zara could finally breathe easy. The days had been long, and the air between them had been thick with unspoken words. They had talked, laughed, and shared moments of silence, each one filled with its own meaning. But the question that had hung over them, what would happen next still, remained unanswered. Now, with the storm gone, the room seemed to hold its breath as they both faced what was coming. Zara stood by the window, her golden eyes watching the stars as if searching for something. She had been quiet lately, and Alex could sense the unease still lingering in her. She had opened up about the bonding season, about the pull she felt. But even now, after everything they had shared, there was a part of her that remained distant. Alex sat on the bed watching her. He didn't know what to say. The words had always come easily before, but now it felt like nothing could capture what was happening between them. He wanted to say something that would ease her worries, something that would show her that he was ready for whatever came next. But the truth was, he didn't know what that was yet. "Zara," he said softly, breaking the silence. "What do we do now?" She turned toward him slowly, her expression unreadable. For a moment, she said nothing, just looked at him as if she were trying to decide something. Then, with a small sigh, she walked over to where he sat. "I don't know," she said quietly, "but I think I know what I want." Alex's heart skipped a beat. He wasn't sure if he was ready for whatever she was about to say, but he could see the seriousness in her eyes. This wasn't just about the storm anymore. It wasn't even about the bonding season. This was about them and what they wanted from each other. "I want to stop fighting this," Zara continued. "I want to stop pretending like I'm in control of everything. The truth is, I don't know what's going to happen between us, but I do know that I don't want to keep running from it." Alex blinked, surprised by her words. "What do you mean?" "I mean," Zara said, her voice steady but full of emotion, "that I've been trying to keep my distance from you because I was scared of what might happen. I thought that if I kept pushing you away, it would be easier to avoid this ... bond. But I can't keep doing that, not anymore." Alex's mind raced. Wasn't sure what to say. A part of him had always known that this moment would come, but now that it was here, he wasn't sure if he was ready to face it. "I don't want to make a decision out of fear either," Alex said, his voice low. "I don't want to be here just because of the storm or the bonding season. I want to be here because I want to be here because I care about you, Zara." Zara's eyes softened, and for the first time in days, she smiled. It was small, but it reached her eyes, and it made Alex's heart race. "I care about you too," she whispered. Alex stood up slowly, moving toward her. There was still uncertainty in the air, but there was also something else, something that felt like the beginning of something new. He reached out, gently touching. Her hand, her skin felt warm beneath his touch, and for a moment, everything else seemed to disappear. It was just the two of them in this room, in this moment. "We don't have to know everything right now," Alex said, his voice steady. "We don't have to have all the answers, but I want to take that first step with you, Zara. I want to see where this goes, together." Zara nodded, her eyes filled with both relief and hope. Together, she repeated softly. For the first time, the tension between them seemed to vanish. There were still so many questions, so many unknowns, but for the first time, they didn't matter. They had decided to face whatever came next, hand in hand. Alex smiled and took a deep breath. "Well, I guess that's something." Zara laughed softly, the sound light and free. "It is. It's something." They stood there for a moment, the weight of their unspoken connection finally lifting. The storm had passed, but it had brought them closer together. And now, as the stars outside the window shone brightly, they knew that whatever the future held, they would face it together. The next few days passed without incident, and the station slowly returned to its usual rhythm. The air between Alex and Zara had changed, though. The quiet tension that had once filled the room was now replaced by something else, an unspoken understanding. They had made a choice. They had decided to face this strange bond between them, to embrace it instead of running from it. And in doing so, they had found something unexpected: peace. As the days turned into weeks, Alex and Zara continued to learn about each other, their bond growing stronger with each passing moment. There were still moments of uncertainty, moments where they didn't know what the future would hold. But for the first time, it didn't matter. They had each other. And that was enough. The future was uncertain, but one thing was clear. They were no longer just two strangers trapped on a space station. They were something more. And whatever that was, Alex was ready to find out. This part wraps up their journey of figuring things out, moving forward with a sense of trust and hope for the future. Let me know if you need any changes or adjustments. Ask ChatGPT.